So we had to like hide our geekdom, so to speak. And it was like that growing up, especially like when it comes to like dating and like talking to girls. Back then, they wouldn't get with you if you were a nerd. It just wasn't happening.
This week, we are doing something special. We are doing something special that we've not done in a while, which is an interview series. And it was my idea because the guy that we're going to have, the man of the hour that we're going to have as our guest today, happened to be posting in one of the nerd groups that I'm in because, hey, we're all nerds.
There we go.
All right.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fantastic.
Here we go. All right. So,
Welcome.
hey, thank you guys who are watching this as a replay for being patient with us because, hey, you got to be patient. You're going to have patience. That's one of the things that it takes in life is patience. Patience is a virtue. How many times have we heard that?
Too many count.
So, first, we're just going to lay it on about who we are so that people know who we are. And there's one person joining us. Hey, OCR Kelly, welcome. Done a little wave.
Hey, Kelly.
Shout out. So, we are, well, I'm Brian Eccles.
I'm Jessica Ferris.
I'm also Star-Lord. We are the Dating Warriors. And we've assembled the Avengers this entire month because we've got some posts that we want to do to help you guys. Because what we are is we're dating coaches for geeks and gamers. We help geeks and gamers, cosplayers, anybody who geeks out about spirituality, geeks out about comics, geeks out about just geeking out. You know, we all have that geeky thing where we all geek out about something. Like I geek out about plushies and Sackboy comes to say hi. I geek out about video games. I'm a geek. She's a My Hero Academia geek like me. So
Yes.
anime geek. I'm just getting her into cosplay. A little bit about us is I met my dream partner 2.5 years ago, and it was a struggle for me because I went through depression. I went through a broken marriage. I went through abuse and abusive relationships. And so we formed the Dating Warriors to help spread love because in today's society, there's not enough love. There's too much hatred. There's too much anger. There's too much negativity. And we're trying to promote positive energy. And we're like the new day. We promote that positive energy. You know, she doesn't know. It's a wrestling thing. She doesn't know.
I'm watching him light up with it.
But yeah, we're all about geeks and gamers, and we want to help unite that crowd together under one banner, calling them warriors, the Dating Warriors. We want to make people warriors like us because we've gone through our battles and we've fought. And I've attracted my dream partner. Jessica's attracted me. I attracted her after all of our relationships we've been through. And here we are. And so our first honorary guest today is the King of Wakanda himself. Oh my God, I watched the movie, man. I watched the movie. You did an awesome job.
He told me I had to fix that instantly. I sat down. No, we didn't do work. We didn't do anything. I made him watch it because my God.
So the one reason I never watched it though is because Storm's not in it. It's like it was to me for so long. It wasn't faithful to the comics. But then again, here's what got me into the MCU in the first place. I was honorarily chosen out of I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people that showed up to be an extra in the Avengers movie when it was shot in downtown Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Chosen. And if you watch that scene where Loki comes out of the museum and he slams the stuff down and says, I said kneel. Right up front, you can see me with the face. The face, like they told you to keep your head down, but I'm like, I needed to get my face out there so I could see myself. And so people could see me in case I decided to pursue acting. And here I am. I'm like acting like I'm shaking. And as Hiddleston walks past me and they're doing a cut, he starts talking to me. I'm having a conversation with Loki. And we're talking about why comics are so important. And that just engrossed me in that universe because for so long, I watched the cartoon show. I loved the cartoons from the day, back in the day of watching the X-Men cartoons. You know, the 80s cartoons we all grew up and loved. And I never collected comics. And after that moment, I started collecting the comics. I started collecting the figures. I started collecting the games. I started wearing the shirts to sport the thing. And now it's like, here I am. I'm a Marvel geek. And I'm also a DC geek. I'm both, but I prefer Marvel. But there's certain DC people like Batman and things that I like. But,
for sure.
I say, who doesn't love Batman, right?
But yeah, that's
exactly.
That's how I got into it. And I started opening my horizons more. So the reason we brought the King of Wakanda himself here today is because of the fact that I saw your post in the Facebook group that I'm in, and it
Yep.
just amazed me because I saw that and I'm like, damn, this dude's got it. This dude's got it. I need to talk to this man and find out how. We need to pick his brain so that we know and people know all about you and your journey. So I'm just gonna let you take it away and start talking about
Sure.
where you started.
Sure. So, for me, and thanks again, guys, for having me on the show. I definitely just wanted to, just start by saying, like, I got started, just like you mentioned, as kids, we all watched, the X-Men cartoons, Spider-Man, all of those, Marvel cartoons, Batman, the animated series, Superman. So we watched it all. We grew up with it, right? And from my perspective, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And I'm from a really rough area where, having the luxury of like being a nerd wasn't acceptable where I was from. You go outside in a Spider-Man shirt, somebody's gonna, pound on you. So we had to like hide our geekdom, so to speak. And it was like that growing up, especially like when it comes to like dating and like talking to girls. Back then, they wouldn't get with you if you were a nerd. It just wasn't happening. And it was completely understood and accepted, and you just kind of had to roll with it. So a lot of cases, the guys that like the comics and like the cartoons, things like that, we talked about it amongst our group. But if girls were around, we would pretend like it never happened. Or if we were around, like, kind of like the bigger kids or whatever like that, we wouldn't bring it up. And that went across the board: cartoons, comics, certain movies, and wrestling. You just don't talk about it. So I spent my whole life kind of putting that part of me in the back burner. And I never liked it, but I didn't have a choice. It was a survival technique, right? So then we look at 2008, the first Iron Man movie comes out. The MCU blows up. And everybody is like talking about the MCU. Everybody's talking about Marvel movies. Everybody's talking about Iron Man. And it became so mainstream that the same people, that I grew up with, I'd see them on Facebook and they're like, yo, on my way to see that new Iron Man. And I'm like, wasn't he the same one in 1994 that slapped me upside the head because I said I liked Iron Man? So it's like, that was the moment for me that clicked, that it was mainstream now. Like, you can talk about it now. So I decided, you know what? Why not go, balls to the walls with it? So I didn't cosplay right away. I dipped my toe into it. So if you see all these medals behind me, I run obstacle course races. So like Spartan races, Rugged Maniac, Bone Frog. These are like hardcore races where like you're jumping in a pit of like mud, crawling under barbed wire, jumping over fire. So I'm doing this all the time. And in order to get some motivation, I would wear a superhero shirt or a superhero hoodie with a symbol on it, like a Batman or Superman, whatever, right? And then I noticed other people were doing it too. And my wife will tell you, I am what's considered extra. I can never just do normal things like normal people. I always have to take it to another level. So what happened was I saw everybody was wearing like this Superman shirts, this Batman shirts, and I said, how can I take it a step further? Why not just wear the whole costume? So 91-degree weather, I'll have a Deadpool mask on, the whole shebang with the swords and the gun holsters, and I'll run a 7-mile race, with 40 obstacles. Or I will, I'll go to the gym. I see my friend Swollen Nick just joined. He'll love this. I'll go to the gym, and I know I'm going to pull 600 pounds today. I want to do a 600-pound deadlift. So what I'll do is I'll dress up in a Superman getup, and it gives me that extra motivation. I'll do like Goku or like somebody who's known for strength, and then I'll like do the pull, and like I'll do this big heavy lift. And I just use the superhero concept to like get me through typically like, like hard tasks like these races or these gym lifts that I do. So we fast forward to this year, 2021. And this was like what I call my breakout year for cosplay. Rather than just getting like compression shirts or like a mask, I went all out. And like even this T'Challa robe, as you saw the Black Panther movie today, this is the authentic robe that he wore during the movie. I have about 10 different Panther necklaces. I have 2 different Black Panther masks. And I just, wanted to like really, really celebrate the character, especially after Chadwick Boseman died last year. It became like a huge deal to me to like really showcase the talent that he put on the screen. And I wanted to be able to emulate that and pay homage to it in some way, which is why at my wedding last year, we did a tribute to him where, and I'll show the video. It's going to come back up on my Instagram soon. There's a video where my groomsmen and I, we come out, you just hear everybody screaming, "Ibambe! Ibambe!" like in the Infinity War movie. And then I come out, I have a purple suit on, and I have the mask and the claws, and I come down the middle, and I scream out, "Wakanda forever!" And like all my groomsmen screaming as loud as they can, "Wakanda forever!" And I just like let the claws out. And like it was a huge moment for my wedding. Shout out to my wife for even letting me do it. And like these are just kind of the stories that I tell, you know, when people ask me how I got into cosplay and what have I done to kind of give back. Like I do these like extracurricular things that nobody else would think to do, and I do it publicly so that everybody can see and hopefully inspire other people to try it too.
Hey, Spider-Man just joined us. You gonna join the Avengers, Spider-Man? I hope. But no, that story inspires me, man, because one of the things that Jessica and I are all about is teaching people how to level up. You know, we go like the Dungeons and Dragons players and everything like that, but just hearing that's just an impressive list right there. That's just amazing because we're up upon the first year of Chadwick Boseman's death coming up this year, and looking at that, and I'm just brought tears to my eyes because he, among many other actors of color, are giving like inspiration for those young kids who are just starting out who don't think they have a way. And
exactly.
Black Panther as a whole had that meaning of a united front, a union. You know, if you're gonna fight, don't fight with guns, fight with words, fight for your beliefs, fight for your values. And that man, he really
did a fantastic job.
He just
absolutely
just seeing that movie, it blew me away. You know, so he gave somebody, you know, something to look up to, because a lot of the heroes,
exactly,
like they have some of the qualities you want, but they don't have all the qualities you want, and that's what we're all about too, is finding qualities of your favorite hero. Like a lot of people said, look like Star-Lord. I'm okay. I'm just gonna adopt that now because, you know, he listens to 80s music. I love 80s music. He works out to 80s music. He's a geek. He didn't know how to talk to women. He like boom, and then here I am. I don't know how that happened, but it just happened. But yeah, it's like,
yeah, I mean, you take favorite parts, and you may have even a couple different heroes that you stand up to, that you look up to. So you take favorite parts. You look at how they got there, even what are their journeys to who they become. Different from comics to the movies. I personally prefer the movies. He's trying to get me into the comics.
Because you gotta admit, there are some good comics. Like
there are.
X-Men, that was a good one. The Civil War comic. The movie wouldn't have existed without the comic.
I'm getting into manga, so I'm kind of getting there.
Hey, manga something.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's these different characteristics that you take and you incorporate into your whole. Your journey here in cosplay, where you started off, you said, with just the shirt, and then you started upping it, trying to become better and better, and using that to motivate yourself.
Yes.
600-pound weight lifts, you said? Oh my God.
that's right there. That's
exactly.
Even that's Incredible Hulk even right there. That's just okay, I'm doing this. It's like I wanted to be a pro wrestler at one time in my life. So I was training in the gym all the time trying to do that, but it's like I just couldn't see myself taking all that damage and taking all that beating and getting beaten down, because little known fact about me is I was bullied too, just like you, in school. You know, you couldn't go out and be that geek you wanted to be. Like playing Magic when I was playing Pokemon. So then I started getting into Magic the Gathering. The moment I started getting into, Echoes is getting into it. Oh no, Magic's not cool anymore. We're gonna go play Pokemon now because that's the cool thing. Left Pokemon for guys. Yeah, okay. Well, I got my decks. Nope, we're leaving. We're going to Yu-Gi-Oh now. We want to do everything. Don't want to do. And comics weren't cool. Like the villains were cool, but if you were worshiping the heroes, you were the bad guy. You were saw as the outcast of life. And
absolutely.
I couldn't talk to the women because, for one, my dad taught me to focus on school. But I kind of had no choice but to focus on school because you couldn't be yourself. It was like hiding in a closet. It's like the Clark Kent in the Spider-Man, Peter Parker, hiding behind the shirt at the desk job, and you're just sitting there waiting. You know you have that, and you know you get that potential to do more. Like you're working out, and you're like super impressive. 600 pounds. That's a lot. I can't even imagine doing that. Like I haven't worked out in a while, and I know I need to get back into it. I need that motivation for that. But it's like thinking about it, just thinking back, like you're that Peter Parker at that desk job, just sitting there. You're that dorky guy. Girl walks by that you're like, hi.
If you got lucky.
You know, awkward. Get to eat. Staring at me like, did that guy just say hi to me? Did that dork just say? And that's what we grew up with in the 90s. But now it's becoming more acceptable in today's society.
Absolutely.
Young kids were, oh my God, it's cool to be a geek. It's not cool to be a jock. You know, you're sitting there and you're a sports player.
Exactly.
Oh, those guys are the boys. Stay away from them. We want to be with the nerd, the guy with the glasses. We want to be with the geeky guy because he knows stuff. He's intelligent. But secretly, these girls that we grew up with, these women, they grew up into women, and they've been secretly hiding behind the scenes too.
I agree.
And they had those comics they were collecting. They were doing that stuff that they were collecting. Even if they were collecting Barbie dolls or whatever, they were still collecting something. They were geeking out about something. But they didn't want anybody to know about that. That was all pushed aside because society taught us a certain way to live. Society teaches us a certain way to be, right? And we as adults, as the superheroes of society, we need to break those norms. We need to show people that it is possible to achieve your dreams. It is possible to attract your dream lover. It is possible to finally have that dream life you want. But yeah, you're going to have to work at it. Life's like a video game. It's like playing a Dungeons and Dragons experience. That's what we teach. That's a whole entire framework. Just walking through a D&D style experience where they're going through it and they're walking through and they walk into the tavern and they see the ideal mate, but do they walk up to that person and talk to them? When they see the rogue, subtle rogue, the dark and mysterious rogue walking over to them, do they want to even challenge that? Like Black Panther and challenge for the title of king, or they just want to wait and see what happens, you know? And that's one reason why we invited you on here, because you've got a wife now. You're married. You had your awesome wedding. What did it take to get to that level to attract?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great question. So, you know, for me, like I said, I was kind of conditioned as a kid. Like, if you want girls to think you're cool, you don't get to talk about certain things. You leave it, you know, to the boys. So I would spend a lot of time when I was dating, like, not talking about the fact that I'm into pro wrestling and that I have a Smoking Skull championship belt. You know, one of my most treasured items. I love that thing so much. I brought that to my wedding too. I actually came down the aisle to The Rock's theme music, by the way.
Coming down the aisle to The Rock's theme music. You smell what The Rock is cooking.
Oh, yeah.
The music playing with the Smoking Skull belt, dressed up as Black Panther. Oh, my God, that's epic. That's like a whole combination of geekdom right there.
Yeah. It was like all of the geekdoms in the world just all came together. But, you know, but before that, you know, I would never in my wildest of dreams have thought that I could do something like that because I was conditioned in a certain way. So what broke me out of my shell, again, I give a lot of credit to the MCU because a lot of people are like going on dates and like, hey, let's go to the movies. What's out this weekend? Oh, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Captain America: Civil War. And then, you know, the girl will say like, well, I didn't see the other ones yet. And now you have an opportunity to get them into the other MCU movies that leads up to whichever one was out. So I kind of did that, you know, with my wife. She, you know, when we were just dating, I was a casual MCU fan. Like I would watch the movies on my own time. I wouldn't go to the theaters for it until Civil War. That's when I was like hardcore. I need to see them all first day in costume. I have to. So she wanted to come with us. And she's like, well, what's this movie about? And I'm like, in order for you to watch this one, we're going to have to take a step back and watch the other 10 first. And, you know, she looked at me like I was out of my mind. But any real fan knows you kind of got to. If you really want to, if you want the full experience and you want to teach them, you kind of got to, right? So I put her through the movies, and I mean, I thought she was just gonna watch it just to humor me, but she ended up really enjoying it and like retaining information. And now it's like the What If series is out, and I'm like, yo, she goes to work or something, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna catch this What If. I'll let you know if it's any good. She's like, you better not watch that without me. So you know, it's such a fast. It's such a fast forward. Like, it's so different. Before, it was pulling teeth to get her to watch these things because it wasn't her thing, you know, and that's okay. I'd never pressure, but it's just like, if you want to be a part of this part of my life and you know it exists, then this is kind of what it takes. So, for example, we went to go see Black Widow, and none of the characters that I have a cosplay. Like, I don't have a Taskmaster, and I don't have anybody that was in a Red Guardian. I don't have them. So I just went as myself, like a regular dressed guy. She has a Black Widow costume with the electric shock batons. So she was like, are we going to the theaters to see it? And I said, you know what you got to do if we are going. And she goes, you want me to suit up, don't you? I was like, yes. So we go to the theater. And we take a bag with we take an H&M bag with supposed to look like shopping clothes, but we really hid the electroshock batons in them, and so we could get through security. We get through security. We put the batons together, and she's like posing in front of the cutout advertisement that they have, and she stands in place of ScarJo, and epic photo. And I was so proud of her for doing it. Because it was rainy that day. She had worked like an 8-hour, 10-hour shift that day. And we still went to the movies that night. And she still suited up. And this was her first time ever suiting up without me. Because I didn't have a character to correspond to it. So it was all up to her. And I thought she was going to bail on me, but she did it. So things like that makes me so happy I married her. She is the best. She really went out of her way with that. And I just want to inspire people that are watching, if you grew up like me and you were conditioned to think that you won't be able to find a cool girl to like get down with your geekdom, you will. It's possible. It's very possible. And I think the trick to it is not to hide it at first. Like, come out with it. If you're on a dating site, make one of your photos like on your profile. If you have a Superman shirt, whatever the hell it is, just showcase it, right? Just let them know out the gate. Because then if you message them and they reply back, they already know you're a nerd. You don't have to ease them into it, And I think that'd be a huge differentiator in trying to, like, I don't know, I don't want to say weed out the crap, but to kind of find people that are like-minded, somebody who's not turned off by the idea that I have cosplay. If I was single, please believe at least half of my photos would be me in some kind of a superhero costume, because I'd want them to know what they're walking into.
Of course, you had the Black Panther. I think Gambit as well.
And the Winter Soldier was a
Yes.
really big one, because I saw that Winter Soldier that you did, and it's been circulating around. Somebody else shared it, and somebody's like, this is...
Oh, really?
I saw it in another group on Facebook and another Instagram, and then when I finally saw that Winter Soldier picture again, I'm like, holy shit, Jessica, it's the same exact dude. Damn.
I did not know that.
I'm like, damn. Because somebody was talking about in the post I saw, I don't remember what group it was in. I'll have to see if I can find it again. It was like a month or two ago. They were talking about how, before the What If series came out, like how cosplayers of color especially get judged a lot based on, they look like their favorite character, but they're not, that.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking in my head, no. I'm glad we finally have these alternate realities, because we know the multiverse now exists.
Yeah.
That way they compare the comics. So you can't say, well, in the comics, it was this way.
Right.
No, the new multiverse. Oh, in the anime and cartoons, it was this way. No, It's differentiating itself, but it was there. And now you talk about the what ifs. I introduced Jess a little bit to the first episode of What If, showing her one of my favorite.
Oh my God, it was so good.
I'm already hooked.
Captain Carter.
That was so good.
I'm sorry that they canceled it, because that show was amazing. I loved it. It's like a superhero that I can latch onto, because I was kind of a little ticked off with Black Widow in a way, because I actually met Scarlett Johansson down when she was walking around, and I was that single guy, and I was trying to hit on every woman I met and stuff. So I reached out, I was talking to her. She's got sunglasses on. She's got her wig on, everything to get ready for the movie. And I walk up to her, and she just says, do you know who I am? And I'm like, no, I'm talking to you because I'm trying to get to know you. Takes the sunglasses off, and she's like, I'm fucking Scarlett Johansson. What the fuck do you want? Why are you hitting on me? And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like literally upset. And then I find out when I was talking to Hiddleston and talking to some of the people in the crew, they said she's
Yeah.
like that in real life because she's been hit on by so many people and by her fans and stuff. She has all
Yeah.
cons and stuff. And I'm like, society nowadays that we live in, it's still tough. And there still needs to be some changes going forward because women have a right to cosplay as whatever
Of
the hell
course.
cosplay has.
Of
People
course.
of color and people, of other ethnic backgrounds, like Native Americans, if they want to cosplay, go ahead and cosplay. You don't have to be, what's that guy's name from Mortal Kombat? What's the Native American fighter? I can't. Nighthawk.
Nightwolf.
Yeah, Nightwolf. You don't have to be Nightwolf. You can go be a Native American version of Captain America. They're making new comics every day where they're taking on the role of the character, or they're creating completely new characters like Miss Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love what they're doing with that.
I love that because I feel as a geek, growing up especially, this is what I've learned growing up, and now, it's you need to be yourself. Like when my dating profile was out there, I put on there some jokes. I'm like, yeah, I'm James Bond. I own a yacht and a 6-foot yacht, and I'm out cruising looking for a villain. If you're my villain, come jump in my TARDIS. I jump right into the next thing.
Or when we actually met online, it was about World of Warcraft
Yes.
references.
Wow.
The first question I asked this lady is, Horde or Alliance?
Well,
Alliance. This is going to be the question that I date you. But the reason, like you said too, you mentioned it. Don't be afraid to put your geekdom on your profile. As a matter of fact, that should be your profile. Like if I had to do it all over again, I would have my My Little Pony collection of all the Rainbow Dash stuff and me on that main profile picture and state right at the beginning that no, I am not gay. Do not judge me. If you judge me, do not speak to me. If you want to get to know me more and you want to know me as a human being, then go ahead and reply back to my message.
Right.
And shoot me a message because we need to make connections. And these last 2 years, especially in this pandemic, people have forgotten how to connect again. Comments are starting to open up again, but we're forgetting how to connect. We go into our little worlds and we go behind our computer screens and we put on that mask. And hey, look, I'm Spider-Man. I can be Spider-Man here. I can play Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. But then you walk out again, out your door. Oh, I'm Peter Parker. No one understands what it's like to be Spider-Man. It's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing that we're facing, especially like one of the things I talked to you about, the reason I wanted to have you two here is being this first interview is because you put a lot of time and effort into making these comics, these costumes. You put a lot of time and effort into making yourself part of the comics and building these costumes. And it's a lot of time and effort that a lot of cosplayers out there are misunderstood for because, you might not design the whole costume yourself. Buy the pieces that you need and then go from there.
Right.
There's also cosplayers out there who just build it completely from scratch, and it takes them 6 to 10 months to even years.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I take my hat off to both. We spoke about this, earlier, and sometimes I'll post. I'm in like 10,000 different cosplay groups. Sometimes I'll post like my Winter Soldier or like any of my costumes. And one question I get sometimes is like, oh my God, that's so amazing. How long did it take you to make it? And originally I used to get a little embarrassed because I have to answer and tell them that I didn't do this myself. And I used to but then I learned, as I've been doing this, for so long now, it's no shame in having someone you commission an artist to make the costume for you. There's no shame in finding the pieces and putting them together, because guess what? We are not all gifted artists. And that doesn't mean it should disqualify you from being a cosplayer, right? So for me, even this simple, I was originally going to put on my whole Black Panther getup, but I just finished eating Chinese food and I was kind of bloated, and I want to put that spandex on. So, so I said, you know what? He just saw the movie today. He'll appreciate the royal robe. So I went with this instead. But from this robe to this necklace piece to this helmet, all came from 3 totally different places. So it still takes effort for me to find each piece. And then because they're coming from different places, you have to mentally see in your head, how will it all fit together? Will it make sense? What if these are too long? What if the jacket might not be too tight? What if the helmet doesn't fit my head? You have to like mentally go through all of that because it's going to take weeks for these things to get to you. So this right here, this piece took, I don't know, maybe 5-6 weeks to come, whereas the helmet only took 4 days to come. So I had the helmet, but I didn't have the jacket yet. So, you know, I'm just trying to piece together in my head, like, are they going to make sense when I put them all together? Because if they don't, I just wasted my money. And because these are custom pieces that I buy, I can't get a refund. So I have to make them work. So for that alone, you really want to give props and respect to people who buy costumes as well as people who make them. It's just two different types of respect, but they're still cosplayers no matter what.
I'm glad you bring that up because, as you said, you have to have the creativity and you have to have the know-how to match those various pieces together. As you said, it is. Honestly, I think it's almost more work in the putting it all together and making sure it all matches versus someone who builds it from the ground up.
Yeah,
right.
From the ground up, you're more worried about the fix, making sure you have the right materials. Whereas if you're finding it piece by piece,
but then you also have,
you
also have to get your own measurements and everything. Because like one year, I was going to my first con. It was Wizard World, and it was in Cleveland, Ohio, and I lived in Cleveland at the time with my ex, and we wanted to go to Wizard World because one of our favorite wrestlers, Dolph Ziggler from Cleveland, was there, and we wanted to go meet him.
Dolph Ziggler.
And at that time, I felt to walk into that con, I needed a costume, and I needed to come up with something. So I slapped together a little piece. For those that can see it on Instagram, you can see it now. But for those who are listening in the podcast, I'll post pictures later. But it's this little vest here. And I created it out of a shirt that I had when I was bullied as a kid. It was ripped and torn, so I just took it and I ripped the sleeves off and it buttons up. I got the Ash Ketchum hat and I put it on, and I took my Fallout gloves, turned them inside out because it had Pip-Boy on them, put them on, and my little son, my little 10-year-old autistic kid, who I love dearly, I dressed him up in a Pikachu hoodie, and I also had my stuffed Pikachu. That meant a lot to me because when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I was bullied, like I said earlier, and talked about that for liking Pikachu. Like they literally threw him out the window and tried to push me out the window with him, and it was hell. But those memories of that made me stronger because holding that little Pikachu, that stuffed Pikachu, on my shoulder to my costume and having that costume that I threw together, it took me some time to figure out how to do it. That was my first cosplay, and then we bought a My Little Pony hoodie, and somebody was selling tails, so my wife at the time, we decided she loves Pinkie Pie, I love Rainbow Dash. So we walked in on day number 2 wearing My Little Pony stuff. And I had a Dolph Ziggler shirt. So I just unzipped the hoodie when I went to meet him. I'm like, hey, you wish you could, right? And he looks at me, man, I love the costume. You're being yourself. That's awesome. He's like, that's the kind of thing we need to see. And I'm like, yeah, we're the real superheroes. You're the real superhero. You're like a hero to me. You know, I look up to you and he's like, no, kid. It's not about me. That's all I got. And then he just slicks his hair back. He's like, although I do have it, it's about you. It's about you. You guys make all this happen. So here we are in cosplay. And the next year comes and I dress up as a Star Trek guard, but I didn't realize I was a red shirt. I ordered the captain shirt and I get the red shirt, but it's just getting all these pieces together, like you said. So now it's like, here we are in 2021. There's a con coming up in October that me and Jessica are going to, Motor City Comic Con in Detroit, Novi.
It's outside of Detroit. It is the Motor City Comic Con. And
oh, nice.
And we're going, and I'm trying to get her to do a cosplay with me. So I said, you can do something because I'm ordering myself either a Star-Lord for day 1 and then a Deku for day 2 and ordering the pieces for that. But it takes a lot of effort getting those pieces together and trying to
absolutely.
You know, I want to wear that to the movie. The movie just got a release date. My Hero Academia has got a release date now in America on October 29th. I'm like, I'm wearing that costume to that movie. We're doing poses. We're going to put some awesome music on. We're going to do some videos. This is going to be up on social because I love it, you know? And there's another thing, too, that exists for people that don't know about this in the geek community. There's an RP community where you dress up in your costumes and you all go out to like a park or something and you act out scenes with each other and you just do role play. Like people were dressing up as Zelda and
Yeah.
Link, and they were doing the Legend of Zelda, and they were doing the Skyrim, you know, things about that. But it's easy, but it's not easy. So from your perspective, let's talk about one thing that a lot of people out there who are probably curious about cosplay, but they don't know how to get into it.
Sure.
Do you have some tips and tricks about getting out into cosplay? Like how to start out in cosplay? First of all, that's the first thing. How should they start out?
Absolutely. I get that question a lot, actually. And my answer is almost always the same to everybody. First things first, pick a character. That's the first thing. And it's the most obvious, but people don't even think about how obvious it is. You have to kind of be passionate about somebody. So for me, Black Panther was the one. That was the thing that got me into it. The first cosplay I ever did in my life, real cosplay, straight up mask and gloves, was when the movie premiered. I went to the theater in Black Panther gear. And that was the first time I'd ever done anything publicly. First time, I didn't even really, like, it was a makeshift costume. This is before I knew about finding people to commission suits. So I just grabbed the gloves and the mask from Amazon.com. And then I just bought a black bodysuit from where was that? From Party City. And then I just had like black boots. And then I put like the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. They had like some kind of like boot covers that I figured I could pretend kind of match the Black Panther boots just to get me through, because I didn't know how to find all of this stuff for real at that point. So I used what I could, and I made it up myself. And it was a big hit. And I thought people were going to laugh at me. I remember I was in the bathroom changing at the theater, and I never did this before, ever. And it was just me and my wife, and she didn't dress up, obviously. It was just me. And I said to myself, one of two things are going to happen. One, I'm going to come out, and people are going to be like, oh, shit, Black Panther. Or two, I'm going to come out, and be like, what the fuck is he doing? And they're going to laugh at me. I didn't know which was going to happen. But I was like, my movie's starting soon. I already paid for my ticket. I got to get out of this bathroom. This is happening. You dedicated yourself to this, Lasheen. Go out there. So I go out, and people were silent. And I'm walking around, and people are so silent. And I'm just like kind of pretend. I got my head up. I got my mask on. They can't see the sweat dripping down my face. But I have my mask on, and I'm looking around, and somebody finally walks up to me and goes, bro, killing it. Can I take a picture with you? And I was like, yeah. And they take a picture with me. And once he did it, a line formed. Everybody. And to the point, I was like, guys, our movie starts in 2 minutes. We'll do more pictures after. And lo and behold, the movie ends. We stay for the post-credit scenes. I get up to leave. There's a new line of people who told people that Black Panther is in the theater. And I had to stand there for an hour doing Wakanda Forever. And it was annoying, but the most wonderful moment ever. I loved every annoying moment of it. So to get back to your original question, your first thing you have to do if you want to get into cosplay is just pick a character. Start with just one, because it's gonna transform into more. Don't worry about, oh, I have 4 favorite X-Men. I want to do all of them. Pick your favorite out of the 4, go with just one and then focus on it. I get a little bit of an obsession when I start to think about my costumes, and to the point where my wife, she loves this about me, but she hates this about me. I will start to visualize once I decide what costume I want, like Gambit, when I did my new Gambit suit. When my friend Fabian, who should be on this call listening in, when he came over with his Wolverine and my wife had her Rogue, I took them to this bridge, and under the bridge was like this dirty, like grungy looking city area where the X-Men, you could really see them fighting in the comics. Like it seemed like a real X-Men kind of like stage. And my friends are like, how did you know about this place? And I said, well, I scouted this 2 weeks ago because I knew we were doing this shoot. And they're like, bro, you just drove around looking for places to shoot cosplay? And I'm like, hell yeah, I did. Like, these are the things that I do. I go out of my way. If you look on my page, you'll see I went to Brooklyn to the Captain America statue, and I suited up on the 4th of July as Captain America, and I took pictures with the statue. I went to Central Park to the Still Hunt Panther. There's a bronze panther above the bike trail, and I scouted the area. I went there 3 days before the shoot that I wanted to do. And then when I got there, 92 degrees, full Black Panther gear on. And I climbed up to the top where the Panther was and took pictures with it. Like, that's what I do. I'm very, very extra. But I envision, and that's my point that I'm trying to make is, if you want to get into cosplay, you know, you pick a character and then you envision something where you could picture that character actually being. So it'll just make it feel more real to you. Then you just watch whatever content you learned. Thank you a lot, Kalal. Appreciate that. And then you just watch. You know, for me, if I'm gonna do a Black Panther cosplay, I'm gonna watch the movie again because I want to just nail scenes and certain parts because I want to emulate it. So it's very simple. And then the last thing, have fun. Have fun with it. You know, it's not a contest. You know, somebody had wrote, you know, we're our own, you know, worst villains, and that's so true. We beat ourselves up. Oh, that was you. Great. We beat ourselves up, you know. Oh my God, there's other Black Panthers out there that have better costumes than me. Oh, his claws are sharper than mine. Oh, his suit is more expensive than mine. You can't worry about that. You got to make do with what you got and make it your own. I do not have the most expensive costumes by far, but when you stack me against some of the more seasoned vets out there, I feel like my Black Panther stands toe to toe with a lot of them. Not all of them. Some of them are just insane. But like in the average, I think I'm up there, you know, with the average Black Panthers. Because not because my suit is as expensive, but because my passion is as dedicated as theirs.
Well, as we said too earlier, that Winter Soldier of yours, I discovered that Winter Soldier, and then I saw it on your Instagram. I'm like, damn, it's the same dude. Holy shit, you know. That's one of the things we teach about confidence is it's not just about being cosplay, but one of the things that we teach as dating coaches is you have to find your hero. Like, as I like to say too with My Hero Academia fans that are watching this, you got to find your quirk. Everybody has a quirk. Everybody has that one thing that makes them unique about themselves. And you get into that character and you just put that costume on, you become that totally different person. And you have to. It's like you said, driving around. There's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome because that's something I would do too, because you're scouting locations of amazing places, like almost like you're a filmmaker. You're writing your own story.
Yeah.
And I said up there in the comments, we are our own supervillains though. So every morning you're waking up. The moment you wake up, you got to wake up and think, okay, this is another day to level up. It's another level to get through. It's another life to get through, and you're just going through life with its many challenges, and you got to see it as they might comment about you. Like, people might make hateful comments, but at the end of the day, it's not about you.
Right.
It's about you. They're going to be in your life for maybe 5 minutes. Now, if it's your own family and stuff, you need to start finding better friends, because having toxic people surround you drains you because they become part of you.
Oh my God, yes.
Feel that. So it's like, as I always tell Jessica, you either got to find your Avengers, your Justice League, whatever you want to call them, or you find your League of Villains and you align yourself with either the villains.
Absolutely.
Which one do you want to be? Because every day it's up to us to make a difference in the world, and just by doing what we're passionate about, we're doing stuff we love about life.
Absolutely.
And we're inspiring people. You're inspiring people every day with your costumes. You just walk out there and you're like, that first day, damn, you blew the crowd away, and here you are. Almost like you're the celebrity of the dang movie. Everybody's coming up, wanting pictures, wanting autographs, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing you see, people think they only see at cons, but it happens in everyday life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we have Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con coming up in a month or so. And unfortunately, I'm at this point, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to make it. And that breaks my heart. But at the same time, I was telling somebody, I make my own cons in a way, you know, like I have learned to have this kind of confidence now where I'll straight up, if you look on my page, you'll see I did Spider-Man Noir from Into the Spider-Verse, and I had the whole black with the hat and the big coat, and I went on the NYC, right on the subway, right on the train, and started doing Spider-Man stuff on the train with the crowd there. And what I love about New Yorkers, one thing about us, nothing phases us, because we've seen it all. So you see this big giant black guy jumping across jumping from chair to chair as Spider-Man, and the people are just on their phones, whatever. And you just gotta love it, right? And like I was on Times Square the taxis were passing, and I figured this would be a great photo op, you know. So I made my own. You know, I couldn't do Comic-Con, or if something just came up where I wasn't able to be a part of that community, I'll go out on my own, and I'll do something where I could be embraced by people and on a regular given day. And honestly, what I've learned is more times than not, they'll applaud it before they'll make fun of it. So you just kind of got to but you have to do it with the confidence. If you put on a Spider-Man get-up and you're sitting there like being all shy, people are going to be like, what's he doing? Well, why is he even out here, right? But if you come out there, you know, me and my friends did a Superman shoot last Saturday, and my son was there, and he did Superboy, and we were all just like chest out, head held high, having a great time. And we got people to take pictures of us for us because nobody was making fun of us. And just once you do it with that confidence, no one's going to make fun of you. It's a cool ass thing to do. Comics are mainstream now. Superheroes are mainstream. So if you see somebody on a random Thursday walking down the block with a Wolverine costume on, that's the coolest thing you're going to see that day. Whereas 20 years ago, that would be ridiculous, and you'll probably like chase them. So the world's changed, and I love it.
It's very true. Like, I mean, more times than not, people applaud you for going out there because of how much courage it takes too.
Yes.
As you said from the movie theater, you had to psych yourself up in order to get out there, and then look at how that turned out. Yeah. That same experience is something you can experience pretty much anywhere you go because it is mainstream.
And you know,
Yep.
I want to shout out to Khalil for a minute for his comment. He said, "Cosplay saved my life, and the people I've met through it are amazing." And it's true. When I started just stepping into the world, I was just doing it just because I wanted to feel like I fit in there. But then I realized I loved it so much. And you know, with your example with the Black Panther dressing up, you know how many people in that audience of that movie probably wanted to do the same thing, and they wanted to have the confidence to do the same thing, but they were afraid to do it.
Right.
They were thinking in their heads, man, I'm just going to look like an ass, a total fool of myself. I'm not going to do it. And then they get there and they see you, and they probably went home talking to their wives, to their girlfriends, to their friends, calling up saying, man, remember that idea I had? I should have did it. That showed up there. A picture. Man, I need to do this more often. You know, this is the kind of inspiring thing that we put out there and do every day. And so the one thing that I want to touch on, that I want to see if you can touch on, is how you met your wife. You know, being the geek you are, how'd you meet your wife? How'd you finally get to that level to finally attract your dream partner that you wanted in your life, that finally now is getting into your world and getting to be a part of it?
Absolutely. So the fast answer is we met online on OkCupid about 7 years ago. But the long answer is I had been, you know, what's the best way to put it? I was a little bit of a playboy back then. I had a lot of girls that I was dating at the time. A lot, like way a lot. And, you know, I was doing my thing. And I realized, you know, it was all superficial. It was all surface level, just simply because, like, again, I would hide my fandoms and everything about me. All these girls knew about me was that I wear suits and I can sing, which was enough back then, you know, because I was very surface level. I just wanted to hook up and meet another one, hook up and meet another one. When it got to my wife, I was in a different stage of my life where I wanted to meet someone and like show her who I really was and like show her more than just the surface stuff. So yes, the fancy suits and the singing was still a part of it because that is who I am. But the goofy part, the silly part, the comic fan, the big nerd that I am, I wanted, you know, somebody who can embrace that too. And you don't show that to everybody, you know. But I knew that she wouldn't judge me. Like, she just had this demeanor about this something about her personality just let me know she wasn't a judgmental. So I figured I can ease her in, and as long as she doesn't make fun, I'll keep easing her in. And she never ever made fun of the things that I liked. And if anything, she kind of got into them with me. Like, wrestling was the first thing. You know, she knew that my son and I had this bond where we would go see SmackDown live whenever they came to New York, or Raw, or one of the pay-per-views. And about a year into us dating, she surprised us with 3 tickets to go see a house show. And I'll never forget that because she didn't have to. She could have easily just got a ticket for me and my son, or she could have just not got us anything. Like, but she got the tickets, and then she came. She yelled and at the crowd. She did all of the cheers, and she even has a picture with the I don't know if you remember the $1 million belt from Ted DiBiase.
The one that they
That
just
old school.
okay.
She had a picture. I had the Smoking Skull, and she had the $1 million championship belt, and we took a picture together with it. And it was like, oh, it's hanging up here. And it was one of the biggest moments, you know, that lets me know she's a rider. You know, she's a part of. She wants to be a part of my world. So as the more we started dating, the Marvel thing really became our big thing together. You know, we go see every Marvel movie together. Typically, we'll suit up for it, depending on what movie it is. And like I said, with her, like the wedding especially, like I used everything that I do is like components of who I am, right? So remember I mentioned I sing. So when I proposed to her, it was at the same karaoke bar that we had our first date at. And I invited all of her best friends, all of my best friends, and she thought it was just a regular party. And I sing a song dedicated to her, and I have her friends, they signal them. They bring her onto the stage because they knew, I told them ahead of time it was going to happen. And we bring her on the stage, I get on one knee and I propose. Right in the front of the bar where we had our first date at. Fast forward to the wedding, that same bar, the general manager of that bar, one of my good friends, Sean, hosted our wedding and DJ'd it for free.
Oh, wow.
So you see everything kind of that I do, it all circles back. So then at the wedding, like I said, we did a Black Panther tribute. I came down to the Rock's entrance music. I sang my wife down the aisle. So every component of who I am, I had to check it off with her that she likes this person that I am. Because once we get married, this is the person you're stuck with. and I believe that, you know, she was genuine the whole time. She does not seem bored with any of the stuff that we do. She suits up for every shoot that we plan. I buy her costumes, sometimes without even telling her. Like with the Gambit and Rogue costumes that we got, like she had no idea she was getting Rogue. I told her I was buying Gambit, and they came in the same packaging that day. So she goes, "What's the rest of that stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, you thought I was doing this by myself?" And I pull out the Rogue's jacket, and I got her the wig and the gloves. And she's like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I'm like, "You're Rogue." She's like, "Oh, okay." And then we had to watch the 90s X-Men cartoons on Disney Plus, because when she's a little younger than me, so she didn't like, that stuff didn't really catch her the way that it caught us when we were coming up. So she didn't really know enough. So she watched it, she studied it, and then last Saturday we did the shoot, and she nailed it. And that's what I love about her. She's not going to lie and say she's a hardcore balls to the walls fan like me, but she will do the research and she'll put in the work to emulate the character.
Doesn't that sound familiar? This look over here because, oh my God, it's like I'm trying to break her into wrestling. I'm trying to get her to see AEW with me because AEW is the WCW of today, but it's better than that.
Yeah, it is.
I'm trying to get her into it, and she's like, "All I see is sweaty men going around the ring, and I don't understand."
Give me a good hockey match. Give me a good hockey match.
She's willing to slowly tiptoe in and just understand it a little bit more. And why I like it is, it comes down to it, just like with cosplay, video games, anything. It comes down to stories.
Yes.
It's the storylines. If it doesn't have a good storyline, I'm not watching your product.
Absolutely.
It bores me. And if it bores
Absolutely.
me, I'll give it, I've learned from Jess that you read a book a little bit, like she's a book nerd. So reading a book, at least give it 5 chapters. So it's like, okay, if I'm playing a video game or I'm watching wrestling or I'm watching a TV show, I want to the first 15, 20 minutes to see if it catches my attention. If it doesn't catch my attention, I'm out of there. I book it. I'm like, I'm bored already. I'm going to this game. I'm going to go play this. I'm going to go do this. And it's just a lot of that. And I'm wondering, Toronto, who are you talking about? Are you talking about T'Challa's wife, or are you talking about Jessica over here?
I don't know.
Because if you're talking about Jessica, Jessica and I was already talking about our wedding, our future wedding, which we want Star Wars themed, but I also want to mix in some My Hero and mix in a little bit of other geekiness to just combine it, because this is what I had. This is what I faced when I was. He's talking about you. Oh, damn!
Okay,
yes. I had to face the facts when people saw my My Little Pony stuff. They're like, "Oh, so you're a brony?" Yeah, I'm a brony. Oh, you're one of them. Okay, here we go again. I have to put myself to the person that I don't want to waste my time with, because, like you said too, before I met Jessica, when I lived in Cleveland, I was that kind of playboy, just going out there and dating around and just talking to all these beautiful women in clubs and stuff. And a lot of people don't get it. Clubs are not the place to meet the geeky people. You got to go.
No.
Cons. You got to go to the bookstores. You got to go to the game stores. You got to go to the music stores. You got to go to the festivals. You got to go dressed up in the, just wear, like, if I walked out right now wearing this Captain America outfit that I'm wearing right now, this Captain America ball jersey, and I walked up and had a conversation with somebody, and they started saying, "Oh, nice Captain America shirt." I know that they know who Captain America is.
Now you know.
Conversation. It's like, "Oh, so are you a fan of the comics, or are you just a MCU?" "Oh, I read the comics back in the day." Okay. When did you start? What did you like about it? And the conversation starts, and then there you go. You got the conversation going. That's where confidence starts. You just got to have conversations. Like I said, these last 2 years, I felt like society has lost that. We've been taught now to not connect, to be afraid of talking to somebody because we're afraid of catching this deadly virus. But at the same time, you can still have conversations, still have your social distancing, and have conversations. You can still get to know people. Say, "Oh, hey, I'd love to carry this conversation more. Do you happen to have a number or a Facebook or an email that I can connect with you?" And just go like that, because it's okay to start out as friends. It's okay. You got to start with friends. That's what happened with me and Jessica. It's like I was talking to her for a couple weeks, and then I just said, "You know what? Hell with it. I'm going with it. Here's my proposition," because she lived in Michigan and I live in Ohio.
So 3 hours away.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, "Here's my proposition to you. You drive down here. We meet." I didn't give her my address at first because I'm like, I just want to meet her first to see if she's really who she says she is.
Right, of course.
Come down here to this town, and I will have a place for you to stay if we hit it off, which is my couch. And if you don't have it off and we're friends, and we just want to be friends, you can still stay on my couch, or you can go home tomorrow.
Of course.
She says my proposition, and when she gets there, I'm at the restaurant pacing back and forth, getting nervous as hell, because folks tell you what to do.
Plus, I was running late. That doesn't help.
I've said it before.
It was a 3-hour drive.
I've said it before, and I've said it plenty of times, and I'll keep saying it to everybody that I talk to, is that all these dating books, they tell us men what we need to do. That's not what you need to do. You need to be yourself. So I'm sitting there, finally, I'm going to settle into it. I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to straighten up. I'm just going to let it out who I am, because she already knows enough about me that driving down here. And the moment she gets out of the car and comes up to the door and says my name, she's like, "Brian," my jaw just fucking drops. And I didn't have any words to say, because that was the moment that I knew.
Nice.
Like, this woman has my soul and my heart already. We just got to figure
That's
out.
awesome.
And it just, that entire weekend we spent watching Star Wars movies, and we spent getting my world, which is more gaming than just World of Warcraft. And we talked for hours. And here I was, this young guy, worried about running out of things to talk to. Here we are 2.5 years later.
I was going to say,
we're still talking.
I drove back and forth every single weekend for over a year. And
wow.
But almost every single drive, each way, we spent talking.
That's amazing.
Something to talk about.
That's amazing.
That's why we said during this pandemic, we just said we need to do something we're passionate about. So we're combining our love of cosplay, anime, gaming, and nerddom, and we became the dating warriors because we want to help people become warriors, to level up, to take up that 5-piece shield, because our framework consists of 5 pieces of a shield, and when you put it all together, it makes that ultimate shield that nobody can penetrate except for you. And if you dismantle that shield, well, that's your own fault. You're your own worst enemy. So we teach about that, and we just built this, and we're taking it to cons, and it's just like, here we are. This is just the first of many, and you're just the first guest of many. And like you said,
absolutely,
I completely love how here's this kid who survived one of the roughest neighborhoods in New York that I'm talking to now, who is now a man willing to do what he wants to do and show the world who he is.
Mm-hmm.
600 pounds, kicking ass and all these triathlons and everything, and just going above, because that's the type of warrior that the world needs. That's the type of warrior that we stand for too. We always strive for that. So if you're a cosplayer and you're watching this, or you're trying to get into cosplay, or you're just a geek and you're afraid you're not going to find your dream partner, it is entirely possible. And I can
So possible
that if you don't give up, you will find him or her.
Mm-hmm.
You will, because once you start assembling your team of Avengers or your Justice League or whatever side you're on, you start assembling your troops. Those troops are what's going to pull you through your toughest times. And
so true.
That's where we're at. We're changing as a society, and we just need to keep being that change. Instead of being the society, and I say this too, one of the things I stand on, is I'm tired of seeing the society is just complaining about everything and whining about everything.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that,
do something about it.
Changing your own life. Change your own life. Level up your own life. Bust your ass and become somebody better. Become somebody that you will look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guarantee the person you look up to has flaws. You have flaws. They have flaws. They might know their flaws, but they're just like you. So go out there and just do you. Be you. And I don't know if you want to add anything to this or not. Feel free.
No, I mean, that was a great sort of closing speech there. I don't even know what I could add to that. I completely share all of your sentiments. I love the idea that you guys are out here, spreading this message. I'm very, very honored to be the first guest. And if you guys ever want me back for a different topic or even the same topic after you guys gain more followers, please, I'm more than happy to come on back. This was tremendous for me. Again, I consider this my breakout year of cosplay. I really invested a lot of time, effort, money, and energy into these suits. And just to be on something like this kind of shows my hard work is paying off. So really appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
One thing you should consider, man, too, is starting your own business and actually teaching people how to cosplay and do that on some videos for your channel and try to build that too, because people need people who have done it, who started from nothing and went to where they're at now, because you've accomplished a lot. And that's something I look up to, man. That's something I mad respect right there. So I'm just gonna give a bump right now. Mad props right there, dude.
Thank you.
Speaking of your channel, where can people find you?
Yeah, so the best way to find me is right on Instagram. That's where all my content is. Just Instagram.com/Tchallasheen. So it's literally just a play on T'Challa from Black Panther and Lasheen, my real name. It just kind of worked out, Tchallasheen. So it'll be very easy to remember. But please, I'm always happy to get more followers. I do crazy things. So my content it might be the same characters you've seen before, but not the way I do it. I go way above and beyond. So people that are watching, if you're not following me yet, please do so. I think you're really going to enjoy what I have.
And anybody who's listening to this podcast form, Instagram, and he's also on Facebook. You can find him. If they're looking for you on Facebook, where do they find you on Facebook?
The best way to find me on Facebook as well, you can just use my regular name, Lasheen. I'm probably the only Lasheen in America, so it's not that hard to find me. Just type it on up, and I'll be the guy with all of my cover profile pictures are cosplay related, so you'll know it's me.
All right. We're also going to have these links available once this is all posted up on there.
Yep.
So folks can see your amazing pictures, your costumes. You really go all the way out, and it's really awesome to see.
Thank you.
And if you happen to have time in October, I believe it's October 15th, I believe it's a weekend. It's the weekend of October.
October 15th through the 17th, I believe, will be the Motor City Comic Con in Novi, Michigan. We'll be there.
My gosh.
Happen to be around.
Hey, if there's a way to do it, if it's possible, I will definitely let you guys know. I will literally make an effort to find you guys if it's possible.
We'll be there. You just look for the guy who's dressed up as Star-Lord or Deku from My Hero. I finally chosen. Those are going to be my 2 cosplay outfits, and then we just got to find something for Jessica, like Princess Leia.
Princess Leia, maybe. I've been eyeing a Chaco from My Hero, so it's just trying to figure out how to do it.
Oh, the pink hair and the way you do the wig, and you just throw it together and you find some pieces. That's what we're going to do.
Yep. I was going to say, I've got at least done bits.
And
For sure.
And for us, too, for anybody who's listening that didn't hear us at the beginning, we're the Dating Warriors. I'm Brian Eccles, and this is Jessica Ferris. And what we do is we are dating coaches for geeks and gamers, cosplayers, nerds, the like. If you're struggling with confidence issues and you don't know how to talk to a woman, or you're having issues with talking to a man, or just trying to find your dream partner, you know it's possible. You heard Tchallasheen here talking. You know, you heard him. You heard T'Challa talk. The King T'Challa has spoken, guys. He's found his woman to rule Wakanda. And if he can do that, so can you. And if you need a little bit of help, reach out to the Dating Warriors, because we're going to be doing free calls here just to get you guys in the door, just to help you guys out, because we want to make the mission of bringing love back to the world. We want to light fire and just make it consume the world, so that we can learn to love the earth again. We can learn to love the nature. We can learn to love ourselves more and love our fellow brother and sister, because we're all brothers and sisters. We're all connected.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter where you're from, or where you're watching from, or where you're listening from. Love is there, right there in your beating heart, because you're alive every single day. It's another chance to level up. It's another chance to get that extra power-up mushroom every morning, because you got to just go out there and jump into the blue and just get that high score, because at the end you're only competing against yourself.
Yes.
That's how it is. So it has been a pleasure, my friend.
Absolutely, sir.
It has been a pleasure for me.
Both of you guys, fantastic. Thank you so much for having me once again, both of you.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch, man. We'll definitely be in touch.
Definitely. Wakanda forever.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to the new movie here. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be different.
Oh yeah, very different. I can't wait to see what they do with it. All right, folks. See you on the other side.
Oh yeah.